We're going to be factoring trinomials that have a leading coefficient that is greater than 1. Now, what does that mean? Well, first of all, they should all be of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, doesn't necessarily have to be a plus sign, it could be a minus sign. But notice that the number in the front is going to be bigger than 1. That's what we're going to be factoring. All right, so first, make sure that you can't take a GCF out. So let's check that first. We're going to see, can you take a GCF out when there's a 3, a 2, and a 5? Well, there is no greatest common factor there. How about the variables? We have a p squared, we have a p, and then we have nothing. So therefore, there is no GCF that we can take out beside the 1. So that's not going to help us. All right, so I'm going to show you how to factor this. And the method is called grouping. And it's a pretty straightforward method. And hopefully after a little bit of practice, you'll be able to get this down. All right, first we need to figure out the product and the sum. Okay, so to figure out the product, we multiply the first and the last term. So the first term is a 3, and the last one is a -5. Be careful, there is a minus right there, okay? So it's a -5. So what's 3 times -5? Well, 3 times -5 is -15. So our product is -15. Okay, now what is our sum? Our sum is the coefficient of the middle term. So our sum is -2. So that's what we're going to put there. So now let's think about what two numbers give us a product of -15. Well, we can start with 1 and -15. We can also go the other way, -1 and +15. Then we also have 3 times -5, and we also have -3 times +5. I don't think there's anything else. So now we're going to look at which pair gives us a sum of -2. So I'm just going to find all the sums. So 1 plus -15 is -14. -1 plus 15 is +14. 3 and -5 is -2. And -3 plus 5 is +2. So if you look right here, that matches with our sum, which means that the pair that we want is 3 and -5. So what we're going to do is we're going to break up -2p into +3p and -5p. And the reason we did that is because we have a +3, that's where the +3p comes from, and a -5, that's where the -5p comes from. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the 3p squared down, and I'm going to drop the -5 down. So that's what we have so far. Then we're going to look at this in 2 groups. This is going to be group number 1, and this is going to be group number 2. Okay, so I'm just going to be looking right here, right now. So what is the greatest common factor of 3 and 3? Well, I hope you were able to figure out that the greatest common factor is 3. Now, what about p squared and p? Well, the greatest common factor there is a p. Now, we're going to open up parentheses and see what's left over. So what's left over, 3p times what is 3p squared? 3p times p. Another way you can do that is you can divide by 3p, and you'll see that there's only a p left. Then 3p times what is 3p? Well, we need a 1 there because 3p times 1 is 3p. So that's how we factor that side. Now I'm going to go to the other side, and I'm going to factor negative 5p minus 5. Now, what's the greatest common factor there? Well, notice that we have two negatives, which means I'm going to take a negative out. Now, we have a 5 in both, so I'm going to take a 5 out. And then there is only a p in the first term, but not the last term. So negative 5 is our greatest common factor. So then I'm going to open the parentheses. Now, negative 5 times what is negative 5p? Well, negative 5 times p is negative 5p. And then negative 5 times what is negative 5? Well, we need a positive 1 because negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. Now, I want you to take a really close look at these terms that we got. Notice that right over here, we got a p plus 1, and we've got another p plus 1.
All right, so I rewrote that last expression in colors so that you could see the greatest common factor. And yes, we're going to be doing the greatest common factor again. So take a look right over here. We have a p plus 1 in both terms. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that p plus 1 out, just like we would a regular greatest common factor. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what's left. So the p plus 1 we took out. Now what's left? We have a 3p minus 5. So that's what I'm going to put in the second parentheses, 3p minus 5. And that is how you factor this expression. Okay, now this is going to take you a little bit of practice, so make sure you practice every single one of these. Okay, take care and stay safe.